Hello, in this video we are going to review multiplying decimals by other decimals. As the directions say, we are going to find each product. The product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So we are going to find the answer to each of these multiplication problems. Now we do these problems, we are going to be required to show our work. And when I say work, there are two different kinds of things I'm talking about. There's your computation work, which I'm going to do first, and then there's your algebraic work. Your computation work is to just multiply the numbers. So I'm going to take 5 and 23 hundredths times 8 and 3 tenths. I'm going to multiply them as though they were just 523 times 83. I do the 5 and 23 hundredths times 8 and 3 tenths. I don't worry about the decimal points. I just line up the numbers and I multiply. Now I am going to color code what I'm doing in hopes that it's easier for you to follow along. So when I do the multiplying, I'll do this 3 first in the tens place. I'll do 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 5 is 15, and I completely ignore the decimals. Then when I go to multiply with the 8, which is in the ones place, I need to do a placeholder so that when I do 8 times 3, the answer goes directly under the 8. So 8 times 3 is 24. The 4 goes down here, and we carry the 2 to the number next to the 3. Then we'll do 8 times 2 is 16, plus 2 makes it 18. And again, carry the 1. And then 8 times 5 is 40, plus the 1 gives us 41. Once you have multiplied each of the numbers in the smaller number, or shorter number, I should say, you add. 9 plus 0 is 9. 6 plus 4 is 10. Put the 0, carry the 1. 5 plus 8 is 13. Plus 1 makes it 14. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3. And then 0 plus 4 is 4. Now, if we were multiplying just regular whole numbers, we would be done. We were multiplying decimals. And when multiplying decimals, you have to count how many numbers are after decimal points. So in the 5 and 23 hundredths, there are 2 numbers after decimal points. And 8 and 3 tenths, there is 1 number after the decimal point, for a total of 3 numbers after the decimal point. So in our answer, we just move our decimal over 3 places, so that when we put the decimal in, there are also 3 numbers after the decimal point. Now, doing this work here is called your computation work. Computation work is adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. It's doing the work. When you do algebraic work, it's how you lay out your answer. So for example, 5 and 23 hundredths times 8 and 3 tenths, the answer should go right under the multiplication symbol. And the answer is 43 and 409 thousandths. And that's your answer for number 1. In each of these problems, they're all done the same way with slight variations because of how they're written. But the work itself is exactly the same. I do my computation work for number 2. The longer number, 846, gets written first. And the shorter number, which is just 5 tenths, gets written second. I like to color code a lot when I multiply to make it easier to see where things came from. I'm going to multiply with the 5. 5 times 6 is 30, carry the 3. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 3 makes it 23, carry the 2. And 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 is 42. Now, because I don't need to multiply with a 0, because it'll just be all zeros, I'm done. Which means I can look. There are 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal point. Sorry, there should be one there. Let me see if it's actually going to come out. There it is. There are 3 numbers after the decimal point, which means in my answer, there must be 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal point. So our answer is going to be 4 and 230 thousandths. But we don't need that last 0, so it's 4 and 23 hundredths. Our algebraic work just has our answer going under the time sign right under the 2 numbers we were multiplying. Problem number 3. These numbers are exactly the same size. The only difference is where the decimal is. So which one you put on top or bottom does not really matter, but I like having habits. Habits are doing things in a way that will make problems, you don't have to think about them, you just always do them, and it makes problems, when we get to more advanced problems, easier to do. So I'm going to put the 32 hundredths first, just because it's longer, not that the 0 actually does anything, and then the times 2 and 5 tenths underneath because it has less digits. When I go to multiply, I will ignore the decimals. I'll multiply the 5 first. 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1. 5 times 3 is 15, plus the 1 is 16, carry the 1. And then 1 plus 0 is 1. Since we have another number, I'll multiply with 2, but when I start multiplying with the 2, the answer must go directly under the 2, which means anything not directly under the 2 to the right, I need a placeholder. You can use an X or a 0. Then I can multiply. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, and 2 times 0 is 0. Then we add our rows together. 0 plus nothing is 0. 6 plus 4 is 10, carry the 1. 6 plus 1 is 8. I don't need to put the 0 in front for just adding 0. I do need to double check how many numbers are after the decimals in the problem. There's 1, 2, 3 numbers after decimal points in the problem, so there must be 1, 2, 3 numbers in the answer after decimal points. Now when I go to write my answer, I do need a 0 placeholder for the ones place, but I do not need zeros at the end. So our answer is actually going to be 8/10. For the last problem that I'm going to do, I'm going to write the longer number first, 2 and 42 hundredths times 25 hundredths. Sorry about that. And we multiply, just like we normally would. I'll multiply the 5 first. 5 times 2 is 10, carry the 1. 5 times 4 is 20, plus 1 is 21, carry the 2 for 21. And 5 times 2 is 10, plus the 2 makes 12. Then I multiply by the 2 in the next place value. I put a placeholder down. And I have 2 times 2 is 4, goes right under the 2. 2 times 4 is 8, goes next to it. And 2 times 2 is 4. I do not need to multiply with the 0 because it'll just be all zeros. Then I add them together. 0 plus nothing is 0. 1 plus 4 is 5. 2 plus 8 is 10, carry the 1. And then 4 plus 1 is 6. If this was just normal multiplying numbers, I would be done. But it's not. I need to count. There are 1, 2 numbers after the decimal point in 2 and 42 hundredths. And there are 1, 2 numbers after the decimal point in 25 hundredths. That's 4 numbers after the decimal point. So for my answer, I must move the decimal over 4 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that there are 4 numbers after the decimal point. Now that I've done that, if I do have extra zeros, I can ignore them, and this answer is 0 and 605 thousandths. So please remember that when you're multiplying decimals by decimals, you just line them up on the right, multiply them like you normally would whole numbers, ignoring the decimal, and then when you are done, as the final step, you can go back and look how many numbers were after decimal points, and have your answer have the same number of places after the decimal points. Thank you.